watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back to the March episode of Healthy Germantown. I'm your host, Will Kassner. This month, we'll take a ride with Steve Watson and the Memphis Hightailers. We'll stop by Whole Foods and talk with Meredith Taylor about healthy food options. But first, we're here in the studio for our Get to Know Your Neighbors segment with our good friend, Dr. Brian Janz. Brian, thanks for stopping by.
Hey, my pleasure, Will.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm about a 23-year resident of Germantown. Moved down here from up north, and
It's way better down here, right?
the weather's great. Yeah, and I came down here to work at the University of Memphis, where I'm a professor at the Fogelman College of Business, and I've been doing that ever since. And
Go Tigers!
You go Tigers! Best job in the world, and so. Yeah, and I've really enjoyed my years here, raised a family here, and we've all had a really good time.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
long-term resident of Germantown.
That's right.
As a resident of Germantown over the years, what are some things that you've seen throughout the city that have helped you be more involved in the healthy life front?
Well, I think, first of all, the city's really open to involvement, right? They're very willing to have citizens participate. And certainly we have some great amenities here. We used to think up north where I'm from that we have this really high quality of life, which we did have up there, but Germantown really holds its own in that term. So in terms of parks and bike trails, green lines and athletic centers and things like that, we've got everything that I think you could want, and it just seems to be picking up momentum, and there's just more and more stuff to do here.
Definitely. Now, you also serve on a commission of sorts, correct?
Well, I've been working with Healthy Germantown, I think, since its inception. Certainly, health and wellness is something that's just been kind of a personal thing for me, and when I heard Germantown was getting into that, you know, they were very open to having me get involved, and I'm still working as much as I can to help raise awareness, and you know, we look at things like how to be more active and eat better and all those kinds of things. And you know, here again, I think it's really picking up steam, and the citizens are, you know, they're really ready for this, and they're already in many cases living that way, and so then it's just a matter of connecting the dots for them.
Right. Yeah, it really feels like we're kind of on the edge of a movement throughout the community.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
So what are some things that you do day in, day out as part of your routine to stay healthy?
Okay, well, you know, I try to do something, you know, 5 or 6 times a week usually, and the things that I've always liked to do, I've been a bicyclist since I've been a 4-year-old, and I've really never stopped doing that, and so I still try to do a lot of that. I'm you know, active with some of the biking groups here in the city, and those groups have identified Germantown as a great place to do a lot of biking, and so it's very convenient for me. So I try to get on the bike a couple times a week. If the weather gets kind of iffy, you know, you can head over to Germantown Center for me and hit a spinning class or something like that. I also like to swim. It's one of those things that not a lot of people like to do, but I've learned to enjoy it over the years. And so again, I try to once or twice a week get into the pool and do some long distance swimming. And then in the summer, I like to go to lakes and just do open water swimming. Really? And that's something I've always enjoyed too. And so that's the other thing. And then I used to be a runner, but as you get to be my age, sometimes it's a little tougher to run, and you start having back problems in my case, and I had a surgeon say, you need to stop doing that. And that's when I started taking up hiking, which has been kind of a relatively new thing for me. So my wife and I got into hiking, and you know, we've been doing that for about 3 or 4 years. So that's been something that's kind of a fun and new thing that I try to sort of intersperse with the other stuff.
Yeah, low impact but lots of fun.
Yeah.
Now, along the lines of hiking, I hear you've just recently completed a little adventure. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. You're probably talking about something that hikers refer to as the 14 State Challenge, which is hiking along the Appalachian Trail. Now, it's a 2,200 mile hike. It takes a long time for people to do that. And although I have some flexibility in my job, I don't have that much flexibility. Right. And so this is kind of an option where you don't hike every mile of the trail, but you hike in every state that the Appalachian Trail traverses. Mm-hmm. And this started in about 2016 or so. My wife and I have always wanted to hike on the Appalachian Trail. It was something that, 30 years ago, we kind of put it on a bucket list.
Yeah.
And in 2016, unfortunately, my wife was diagnosed with cancer. And so we really wanted to continue to do important things, but we had to kind of change the way we did it. And so the 14-state challenge was a way that we could still go out and do 10-mile day hikes in these states.
Right.
And we could still get home or back to a hotel at the end of the day, have a nice dinner, a warm shower, a comfortable bed, and we'd also be close to medical help if we needed that. And so my wife and I started this out in 2016, and we started on the south end of the trail, which is in Georgia on Springer Mountain. And then over a period of about 5 or 6 days, we did the southern 7 states, and every day we did at least one state. And in some days, we'd actually do 2 states. We'd actually cross the state border, like in Tennessee. You can start a hike in Tennessee and end up in North Carolina.
Right.
And so we did that, and we just had a ball. We really liked it. It was just something that was really a highlight of our lives. And then unfortunately, my wife got sicker and passed away. But before she did that, I told her that, this is something that I'm going to finish for us.
Yeah.
And so I was committed to that. So after about a year of sort of sorting things out, I started training again to finish the hike. And so just last summer, I kind of took it upon myself I flew out to Pennsylvania, and I started the hike in New Jersey, and then just started traversing those states as I went north. And I did connect with a couple friends that live up in that part of the country, and so a couple of those hikes I actually was hiking with friends, which was also really special for me. And not to get too dramatic, but one of the things I did as I was doing that northern 7 states is I had my wife's ashes with me. So every state, I spread her ashes along the way. So she, in effect, did the hike with me, and we kind of finished the 14-state challenge. The last hike is up in Maine. It's you have to climb to the top of a mountain called Mount Katahdin. It's one of the toughest hikes along the 2,200 miles, and it was a tough hike. But I had not just one friend, but I had about 7 other people that were friends of friends that kind of heard my story and said, you know what, we want to be part of that. Yeah. And so we had a little caravan of guys making the climb to the summit, and it was really a special thing. And I was kind of chronicling this hike along the way through social media. And actually this got picked up by the governmental agency that controls the Appalachian Trail, and now they've been blogging about my little adventure too, which is kind of cool.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
What a story! And it's so cool how things that are healthy can also benefit physically but spiritually as well. And there's multitudes of benefits.
I can't tell you the sort of the spiritual side of that I still just talking about it. You really start to feel that, and it's something everybody can do. So it's one of the things I would advocate for people. If you've ever wanted to do the Appalachian Trail, if you have a weekend, go out and hike a couple states, and you can hike the prettiest part of each state.
Right, you get to pick where you go.
Yeah, so you can do a little research and say, I want to do the best parts.
Yep.
And it's easy to do, and so you can do it a weekend here, a weekend there, and pretty soon you've got your 14 states.
And you're done.
Yeah.
Real quick, any last advice you would give to the citizens of Germantown, and just in ways that they could be involved in a healthy lifestyle?
Well, I think, certainly connect with Healthy Germantown on Facebook, or connect with the city's website. There's a lot going on. We need volunteer help all the time, and we're doing lots of neat things. And so have a look at us, and we can it's a good way for fellowship and health. And, it just makes makes for a nice community effort, I think.
Definitely. Well, thanks for coming by today.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Talk
really
about this
enjoyed
anytime.
And maybe we'll see you on the trail.
I'm sure we will, Will. Thanks.
All right. Well, we've got to take a break. When we come back, we will hit the Greenway with Steve Watson of the Memphis Hightailers.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back to Healthy Germantown. We are here at Cameron Brown Park with Steve Watson to talk about the Memphis Hightailers group ride. Steve, thanks for letting us stop by.
Oh, thank you, Will. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Memphis Hightailers.
Well, I've cycled since about 1985, moved to Memphis in 89, and I joined up with the Hightailers in 89.
Oh, wow.
I did take a
long
little
time running.
Well, it is. I did take a little break from the Hightailers, but then rejoined again in about 2009. I took a break when my children were young, and something you should never do. Just because you have children, still continue
Keep
to
on
do,
moving, right?
Keep on going.
So how did the whole Cameron Brown group ride get started?
Okay, we started this ride in 2012. When we started, the Hightailers met with some bicycle owners and employees of the bicycle shops. And it was came out of the meeting that there was really no ride set up for beginners.
Yeah.
So we thought, this would be a good opportunity. Go ahead and set up a ride. The Hightailers had many rides set up during the week, group rides, but they were all geared towards people that intermediate level to advanced level. So came up with this ride. We decided, let's do it about 10 miles, but also break it down to where it's 2 5-mile loops. So if somebody didn't really feel like doing 10 miles, they could do two, just stop at 5 miles. And it was geared towards about 10 miles per hour, pretty slow ride. And you think, well, that's great. That's perfect for a beginner, but it's not only just for a beginner. We have a lot of people that ride this ride that have no desire to go more than 10 miles per hour.
Yeah.
But we also realized during this first year that there was still something missing. Even at this 10 mile per hour beginner pace, it was still difficult to go to jump up to these intermediate rides that are going 13, 14 miles per hour. So we decided to have two groups on this ride. We now have, we call it the easy riders that do 10 miles at about 10 miles per hour, but we also have an easy plus group.
Gotcha.
And this group goes between 12 and 14 miles per hour for 16 miles.
Yeah. So it really caters to the beginner and the intermediate, provides a great route, great speed. It's just good all around for everybody.
That's true. That's the way we look at it. And one of the things with this ride is we wanted people to feel comfortable riding on the roads and comfortable riding with groups. So the rides on the road, we have some of the more major roads. We ride on Dogwood, we ride on Farmington, and those roads have bike lanes. So we feel like they're a little safer riding in the bike lanes. We also have some that go through the subdivisions, part of the ride. And the subdivisions are low traffic, so people I think they get a feel for riding on the street in a comfortable environment.
Yeah, so let's say we just pulled up. Now these rides take place when?
They are on Mondays at 6 o'clock, and they are year around, but in the summertime is when we have the two groups, or actually the first Monday in April through the last Monday in September, we have the two groups.
Gotcha.
In the winter time, we only have one
Just
group,
the one.
the 12 to 14 mile per hour.
Because it's a little chilly.
A little chilly, and it's also dark.
Indeed.
And so, really, it's not ideal for a beginner rider, but somebody that has a little more experience. And the roads we do ride on are well lit.
Right.
So, and we do require, headlights and taillights.
So let's say we just pulled up on a Monday evening at 6 o'clock. I'm a brand new cyclist. What would I expect to see as we get into starting this ride?
Okay, in the summertime, there's usually 15 to 30 people here, and we give a speech before each ride. We talk about safety factors, what we want people to accomplish. We talk about the ride, and just any kind of questions. And also, one of the things we do like to point out to riders, we like to help some riders. Some people, we don't want to nitpick things, but if a rider is doing something blatantly wrong, like not changing gears correctly, we can point some things out to try to help the rider ride a little more efficiently and safety.
Yeah, so you're kind of a coach too.
We do like to look at it that way. And some of the more experienced riders come along mainly for that.
Sounds great. Well, what do you say we hit the road?
Oh, that sounds great to me.
All right, let's go.
Thanks.
Well, Steve, we took a good ride and we've done what we call a safety pit stop. So let's recap a little bit about some of the things we've seen along the way and just what you could tell us as beginners to always remember on the road.
Okay, I enjoyed the ride, Will, and you did great. One of the things we like to do anytime we're on a ride is use hand signals. If we're turning, we hand signal left, right. We're slowing down, we give the slow signal. We're stopping, close our hand, let people behind us know what we're doing. Not only do we use hand signals, we also call it out verbally. So in case somebody doesn't see it, they can at least hear what's going on. We also point out obstacles on the road.
If there's something
that helps people because you're blocking views from people behind you. So it's always good to point out any kind of obstacles you see. And like I say, not only point it out, but call it out too.
Sounds great. Well, we got to get back on the road. So, Steve, thanks for letting us ride with you today. We'll see you next Monday night at 6 o'clock at Cameron Brown Park.
Okay, thanks, Will.
More Healthy Germantown after this.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to savethefood.com.
You are watching Germantown Municipal Television, your source for everything Germantown.
Welcome back to Healthy Germantown. We are here at the Germantown Whole Foods with our good friend Meredith Taylor. Meredith, thanks for letting us stop by the store.
Thank you so much for coming. We're happy to have you.
So tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Whole Foods.
Yeah, so I just came on here in October, so it's just been almost 6 months now, and I'm their marketing and community liaison. Prior to this, I worked in the nonprofit sector, and what really drew me to Whole Foods as a company was just that they're so mission and value based in everything that they do. So, you know, coming from the nonprofit sector, I was definitely looking for a company that instilled those values.
Yeah, that fit right in.
Absolutely.
So what are some things along those lines that make Whole Foods unique?
Well, one of the things that's our top priority is we seek to delight, nourish, and satisfy our customers each and every day. We're also all about win-win partnerships and supporting our local communities.
Awesome. So, supporting communities, do you do that through like programs and events?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
partnerships? Tell me a little bit about that.
We're all across the board. So we have a lot of great programs and events throughout the store, some of which are directly related to healthy eating, such as our Healthy Heart Night that we're hosting here at the end of the month. We also have 5% days quarterly, where 5% of our net profits from that day go back to a local nonprofit. So keep an eye out for that. And then we also host, a variety of local companies in the store, whether it's the Germantown Chamber or having events with a local yoga studio, things like that. We're all about supporting and making those partnerships a win-win.
Awesome. So healthy eating is a big part of the Whole Foods mentality and goals for the community. Are there any other ways that you guys push that or promote that, maybe through media or books or other things that people can get their hands on to kind of step into that lifestyle?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked. Actually, our CEO just recently wrote a book called The Whole Foods Diet that you can pick up in our stores, and it talks about, ways that you can help your diet become more healthy and health conscious. It also has recipes in there to make it easy for you to just go around the store, pick out items that you need. And we also try to make it easy for customers when they shop around the store. So whether they're looking for local products, it will say whether or not that item is local, or they're looking for something organic or something that's one of our everyday savings items. They can really just find whatever they want very easily. It's all labeled.
Awesome. Speaking of shopping in the store, we're right here. What do you say we take a look around?
I would love that. Let's go.
All right.
So when we're talking about healthy eating, one of the reasons that I want to start in the produce department is because that's typically where healthy eating begins,
Yep.
With
Fruits
lots
and
of
veggies.
fruits and veggies,
Yep.
yes. So when I'm trying to pick out my fruits and veggies, I really like to think of what the seasonal items are. And right now, those are going to be our root vegetables, our citrus, and also our leafy greens.
Gotcha.
So right here, we've got a wide selection of potatoes.
Potatoes.
We've got some sweet potatoes, we've got some fingerlings, we also have the wonderful russet potatoes. And when you're picking out a potato, the best thing to do is to try and pick out a heavy set potato.
The bigger is better, right?
Just the heavy, just the weight of it is really what's important. And then when you buy it, you typically want, for best practices with cooking, to cook it soon after you've purchased
Oh, really?
it. Yes.
So like the whole potato on the counter for a couple of weeks is not the best way to
No,
go?
you shouldn't let it sit, just because you'll have better texture and flavor if you cook it soon after purchasing.
Yeah.
So these are great options. I personally really love a sweet potato hash. I also love to cut up root vegetables and put it over quinoa or brown rice, all of which are offered in our salad bar. I don't know if you've ever been over there, but
Heard a lot of good things about
a
it.
lot of great options there for lunch and things like that. So you can try out all of those wonderful potato options there.
All right.
And if you're ready, we can make our way over to some of our
Let's do it.
wonderful leafy greens. These are great right now, very in season. When you're trying to pick out a turnip, you really want to look for it to have that colorful purple hue around the edge, and also a nice creamy color on the bottom.
On the bottom.
And these are also, yet again, great over quinoa or brown rice. You can also roast them, or use them in stews or soups. It's great for the winter
turnip soup.
months. Absolutely, can't go wrong. And then we also have chard here that's in season. When you're looking at chard, you really want them to have firm leaves, no brown or yellow spots,
All right.
and a colorful stem.
Nice red stem.
Yes, nice red stem. And when storing these, it's really nice to keep them for about only 5 days in the refrigerator.
Okay.
And you store them in a plastic bag.
Gotcha.
So that way, if you put it in the crisper, it'll stay fresh
Stay
for longer.
crisp.
Yes, absolutely. When it comes to our organic, oh, look.
The mist.
Yes. This is a great way to also keep our vegetables fresh.
Yeah.
So when you're cooking collard greens, sometimes people are surprised at the volume when they cook it down, because
It goes to nothing.
It goes to nothing. So you got to make sure that you're prepared for
By
that
a
to
lot.
happen. Yes, definitely. And you're going to make sure to cut off the stems on the collard greens as well. You just want the leaves. Yet again, you want those firm green leaves when you're looking to purchase your collard greens. But all-time Southern favorite.
Of course.
Can't go wrong.
But now you got to be careful. I think the trend is to just cook them for like forever until they
Right.
essentially have no nutrients left, right?
You definitely don't want to overcook anything like that.
Yep.
And then also we've got kale over here.
Uh-huh.
We make our way, which is definitely an all-time favorite. Very
Can't go wrong
popular.
with kale?
No,
Yep.
you cannot. And the great thing about these leafy green vegetables is that they are just packed with nutrients.
Right.
They've got vitamin A, C, K, E, potassium, magnesium. I mean, I could go on and on. So really,
everything.
yes, it's a win-win.
Yep.
Especially in these winter months when you're trying to stay healthy, fight off, the flu and things like that.
Yeah.
Which is a great segue into our citrus items
Let's go.
that are also very in season right now.
Vitamin C.
Yes. So these small mandarins are really great to just grab and go. You can peel them easily.
Right.
They're in small amounts, easy to store for lunch for kids, things like
Kids
that.
love them.
Yes, people love our little mandarins over here. And then we also have some wonderful grapefruits. And when you're picking out a grapefruit, you want to make sure it's nice and plump, and then it's got a lot of ranging of coloring, either
red, little orange.
little red, little
Yeah.
orange. The more color, the more flavor there's going to be. And depending on the variety of grapefruit, you're going to find some to be more tangy, some to be more sweet. But again, if you go over to our prepped food section in our salad bar, you're going to find lots of citrus items. Be able to try some of that grapefruit yourself.
Yeah, so kind of get a feel for what you like.
Yes,
Perfect.
and in addition to our produce section, we also have a wide range of healthy food items in our meat and seafood department. Our team members are very knowledgeable. They're experts on what they do. So you can go up to the fish counter and the seafood counter and pick out a fish that you want deboned and learn how to cook it from our experts, from
That's
our
awesome.
fishmonger.
Yeah.
Same with the meat department. They'll cut any slice of meat that you prefer and they'll tell you how to cook it. Or if you go to our specialty department, our cheesemonger will be happy to help you pick out the perfect selection of cheeses for your cheese
Yeah,
board.
that sounds awesome.
Absolutely.
Love some cheeses.
Who doesn't?
I know, right?
Get that calcium intake
So
in.
good. So tell me a little bit about, we've talked about your programs, we've talked about the different types of produce. What are some other things that really just kind of sets Whole Foods apart?
Like I said, the expertise of our team members, that is a huge differentiator with Whole Foods. And then also something we're proud of is our support of local. We are always looking to support our local farmers and our local vendors that come in the store. If you walk around, you'll see signage everywhere that's talking about what is local, what is made in the South. And so that's something that we really aim to do, is just be supportive of our communities.
Yeah, so you get it's not just organic, but you can also kind of get a feel from where it's from.
Right, yes. We also have, conventional local products as well. So it's just nice to support, the people that support you.
Definitely. Well,
Absolutely.
thanks for letting us stop by the store. We look forward to coming by, hanging out, and seeing all the good things that Whole Foods has to offer.
Thank you so much for coming. You're welcome back anytime.
All right, we'll see you soon.
Thanks.